Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I call the meeting, the Board of Ed meeting for Thursday, October 17, 2024 to order at 6:02. We'll have the roll call.
Chairman Robity,
Here.
Vice Chair Nafrio,
Here.
Secretary Sienna, Judy Bannon,
Here.
Zachary Canada,
Here.
Kim Dawson, Victoria Lund.
Here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any visitors that would like to comment? The comments are limited to items on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? And third time's a charm. Anyone who would like to speak tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to our student representatives. Hi, guys. Hello.
Okay, so NBHS has continued to offer dual enrollment high school college courses with curricula aligned to UConn and SCSU. From UConn, we have seminar academic writing, American protest, and contemporary issues in sport, which is new this year. And from Southern, we have creative writing, the American experience in literature, and time and place in literature. At the onset of October, NBHS was notified by the College Board that, once again, NBHS was named to the College Board Honor Roll for Advanced Placement Program Success and Participation Rate. For the first time ever, this has occurred back-to-back years, after being recognized several times in the past. 36% of total NBHS senior class successfully completed at least one AP course and scored a 3 or higher on at least one AP exam. In 2024, we had the second highest number of AP tests completed during the past decade, and the number of AP students has been consistent during the past decade despite fluctuations in class size.
The NBHS English Department Chair, Mr. Robert Ford, has been chosen as a recipient of the 2023 National Council of Teachers of English Affiliates Newsletter of Excellence Award. Mr. Ford is the editor for the New England edition of the newsletter and will be recognized during the National Convention during November. Homecoming week at NBHS took place from September 30th through October 5th. Events took place during the school day and evening, including home athletic games, themed dress-up days with a tally competition among students and staff, and the return of 2 major events, a pep rally and a homecoming dance on Saturday night that was a sellout. During halftime of the home football game, a fireworks display was provided to the delight of all spectators and participants.
All grade 9, 10, and 11 students completed the PSAT on Wednesday, October 16th, during their scheduled school day. The testing is online and completed through a secure browser, with students using the school-issued Chromebooks.
The midpoint of the marking period was on September 26th, and the closing of marking period 1 is scheduled for October 29th. At the close of segments, a grade check report is completed for all students. The MTSS team, Administration, Guidance, and Teachers, led by Assistant Principal Lee, reviews the report and determines the intervention strategies for students with 2 or more Ds or an F. Interventions include meetings with students and their parents, inclusion of guided support study halls, counseling and support, and/or additional collaboration with classroom teachers to ensure academic success and work completion.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Boy, that marking period's flying by, isn't it?
Yes.
A lot to be proud of there, academic.
Quick question for the two of you. Did you attend the homecoming game?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Dance?
Yes.
With
They were.
no script?
It was,
It's 4 years.
yeah.
The dance is back. Homecoming was sold out. Fireworks show was spectacular.
It was. I was surprised by how amazing the homecoming dance really came.
Yes.
For our first year of homecoming.
And our first day selling tickets, we were already almost out.
sold out.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
everyone that was there, that checked out, so the kids were outstanding.
It was
Yes.
better than I think the best ever could have expected.
That's great. It's important for the board to hear that, you know,
Yeah.
you hadn't had it in a while. You as a student government brought that dance back and really communicated how important it was, you know, to administration. And then they did a fabulous job with Spirit Week, giving you activities building up to that. So that's good for you. That speaks volumes about your classes there.
Certainly a good start of our senior year.
All right.
Definitely.
So thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Great leaders.
Just listen. You're listening.
I don't want to put them on the spot.
But.
Let's get them off scripted, right? Hear a little bit about the fun they had.
They rose to the
Yeah,
challenge.
they did great.
Okay.
Then moving along, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda of the October 17th, 2024 Board of Education meeting.
Could I say one thing before we, can I second it? And then can I say one thing?
That's three things you said.
Can I just talk a bunch? I do want to say in resignations that my daughter's homeroom teacher is Miss Masidi, and I have heard from everybody how sad they are to leave, that she's leaving. So
She's a wonderful teacher. She was my children's
She will be very missed.
teacher.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to spin off. That's okay. It's all good. But it's more important as a parent say that. So the next 38 years of dedicated service that she gave to the district.
Wow.
And I know she was contemplating it last year and, came to the decision that this was the time now. And we have a plan in place. We're going to move an internal person, so it's not going to disrupt the flow at all. So the middle school will have teachers that they're familiar with, and they'll have a very strong person moving in to replace her. So it worked out. We were lucky. The last thing you want to do is look for a math teacher during the academic year, or a science teacher, or a language teacher, or
Any teacher.
any of the 9 shortage areas. So thank you.
So what are they doing for the field trip with Mrs. Tetzo in New York? Is it just kind of walking around and climate and?
So it's obviously through the language department. Mr. Steffler.
Yeah, it'll have an agenda that will be cultural based on the language. And typically it would include a trip to a museum and some sort of
Oh, nice,
restaurant that's themed based on the language that we're studying.
nice,
Our music educators are here to speak to the music trip that you have to take a peek at as well.
perfect. That's
Did we vote on the consent agenda?
We did, we voted on the consent agenda, but does anybody have any questions about the music festival?
Music Fest
I
is
was-
right below
I was curious to know what was going to take place on that trip, so I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
it. Sure.
Would you like us to come up or?
Yeah, come up to the
Come on.
hot seat here with the mic.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maria Bertay. This is Kayla Pardue. I'm our choral director. She's our instrumental director. So a couple years ago, we did a trip to Hershey Park. So we had a year off, and we thought we'd like to bring something back where the kids get to travel. So we looked at a new festival. It's called the Heritage Music Festival. It's a new to us festival. It's been around for a while. So it's going to be taking place in Boston. So it would be 2 nights, just like when we did our Hershey Park trip. What's a little bit different about this festival than your traditional festivals where the kids just play, the adjudicators speak. This one, the adjudicator will come up onto stage and you'll have a half an hour of a clinic on the stage with our students. So they get to have this hands-on experience and really apply that feedback immediately, which is really pretty cool. It's nothing I've ever seen or experienced before myself. I do have a little breakdown of our itinerary if anybody would like to take a look. So
You can pass it one to Ms. Caruso, and she'll pass it around
Thank
to
you
the
so much.
wires. Or
So what the days will kind of look like is we will leave North Branford, we'll arrive in Boston, we'll do a little, they'll take us to Quincy Market, we'll have a chance to explore Boston a little bit, we'll have lunch. After lunch, we will do another just says explore Boston, so once we kind of finalize things, we'll have a little more specifics there. After that, we'll take them to see the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and then we'll have dinner, and we'll go to bed. The next day, breakfast at our hotel, then we go to the festival. It happens on that second day that we're there. After the festival, we'll take a tour of Salem. So again, all this is guided with the travel company, which is great. And after that, there's a dinner, dance, and award ceremony for all the kids, which is kind of fun and different as well. They didn't have that when we went to Hershey Park. And then the next day, breakfast and head back home to Connecticut.
Sounds fun.
The dates are on there. The itinerary's on. If you have any questions or anything for us? Yes.
Are there different schools coming as well? So they'll
Yes,
meet kids
yeah,
from
all over the place.
all over
Yeah.
the place.
And we are intending to bring 3 ensembles at the moment. So it'll be our concert choir, our chamber choir and our concert band.
How many
Share
total students?
45.
About
45.
45 approximately, yeah.
And what would be your ratio of adults to students?
In the past, when we did, we had at least 4 adults. Yeah, because I think it has to be 10 to 1.
I didn't look it up, I meant to, but I.
Yes, yeah. So we would obviously make sure we did that.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Sounds like a wonderful
that's a great
opportunity. Thank you for setting it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you. Okay, so approve the consent agenda of the October 17th.
I made the motion, Vicky second, we just need to vote.
Okay, we just need to vote. All right, so all in favor, please say aye. Any noes, any abstentions? Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. And the superintendent's report
All right,
is
thank
next.
you. Under recognition, I don't have any at this time, but I would like to recognize, I just got hot off the wire that our field hockey team won 1-0 against Amity, which is a much larger SEC school, and we're still undefeated with 1 tie for the season. So congratulations. Hot off the press. You have the board bed briefs. Obviously, the buildings are up and running and really busy. There's a lot going on. If there's any questions, or if you have any questions after you look at the briefs, feel free to send them to me and I can follow up with more information. Veterans Day, it's hard to believe, it's right around the corner. If you go to Exhibit C in your board pack, you'll see events. It's over 3 days. We start at the intermediate school, which we've done in the past, on a Thursday the 7th, and the veterans come in and speak throughout the building. We have breakfast for them, and there's a musical presentation. Friday, the high school kicks off with a breakfast morning, 8:45, and then they have tables and classes visiting, and they go from station to station with the veterans sitting at the tables. And then obviously on the 11th is the 2 big ones that we do at Jerome and Tutucket with the all-school assembly, and with the marching band, and same thing with Tutucket as well. So it's well coordinated. I think we do a wonderful job in all of the buildings for the appropriate age levels, so they have an understanding of who veterans are and what they've done to make this country so great. So we continue to recognize them, and we still really believe that it's better for us to be
Absolutely.
in school, honoring, learning, and reflecting with our veterans. So we'll continue that tradition.
Yeah, I agree.
And we invite you to come. Please come. You can come all 3 days or pick an event, come to an event. I know Zach always attends and is there in uniform. He's still
Maybe.
That was a year ago. Right.
No, I'll show up.
We have a little time left for Zach to be able to get back in that uniform. But,
Start fasting.
I wasn't going to go there, Zach, but I picked up on it. So we're excited about that. The next one, obviously, the athletic building. We've had numerous conversations about that. And John Floyer was here tonight just to talk a little bit about the process. Will be a motion to be approved tonight to continue on with it. It's going to be a student experience. They're going to be building on the ground. They will not be on ladders. They will not be on the roof. I know that was something that was in question, but that was never the plan. They will have all aspects of the project through their construction, advanced construction, and their engineering class. We've had multiple people, vendors, reach out that want to donate and be a part of it. It's really become quite exciting. So John is here. John, if you want to come up to the hot seat and answer any questions that the board may have. John's in the process of securing permits right now, working with planning and zoning. He's already done a lion's share of the work, meeting with all the vendors, getting all of their insurance updates, what they're going to be donating, how much they're going to be donating. So the next step of the process, it's going through the permanent project committee, which has already been endorsed. It'll go to the town committee in November. John will present all of the updates with budget and all of the vendors who participate.
Thank you you, John, for all your hard work on this.
He's going to GC it.
This is a great project.
Part of the job.
This is a great project.
So we are pushing forward with it. It has gone through permanent project with shining stars there. Zach and Beth could attest to that. Everybody on a permanent project went over the blueprints. They loved the idea. Matter of fact, 3 members of the permanent project committee volunteered to be part of the project. So I appreciate all their input. Them guys are professionals, and they said anything we need as part of this project, they're in on it. So great. I went down to town hall. I filed the wetlands permit. I filed the zoning permit, and I'm just holding off with the building permit until it clears everything. The town engineer who was here, and he has since left, before he left, he created a site plan for us. So I had met Victor out there quite a while ago, and he said he would do one. So he did a site plan for us. The town engineer did that. So that's great. And we also have the original site plan from the entire school property itself. I met with the wetlands, and we took a look at it, and he has absolutely no problem where we're putting it. We're far enough away from wetlands. He doesn't have any problem with the location at all. And like the superintendent said, since the talk of this project's been going around, multiple calls of people want to be part of this. We have 2 electricians who already said they'll donate all their labor and their materials. We have a roofer who wants to do the roofing job. We have someone who wants to donate the concrete. 2 carpenters want to be in on the job. Once everybody heard it, that the kids are going to be involved in this, everybody just went, they threw their support behind the project. It's not only is it a great thing to have the kids involved, but this is a much needed building. We were throwing away perfectly good sporting equipment that was getting ruined in storage trailers, and just paying for stuff, which is...
And paying for the storage.
And paying for the storage trailers. And the neighbors had to look at those ugly storage trailers the whole time. And
Right. Yeah.
it's just a great project all the way around.
Yep, absolutely.
But we have the blueprint of the building. The architect that did the blueprints is in town, and all the people on the building committee know him, and they're like, his prints are aces. We're not even going to question it. And we're ready to go. Once I go to zoning and wetlands, and that's all complete, I have to give them the rest of the paperwork tomorrow at the town hall. And then as soon as the meeting comes up, I'll attend the meeting. Once we go through zoning and wetlands, I go get the building permit, which I already spoke to the building inspector. He doesn't have a problem. He looked at the plans already. We'll be ready to go.
Maybe we'll have a nice sign on it, thanking all the people that donated.
That will definitely be done.
Oh, yeah.
That will definitely be done. Yes.
John, you're going to be at the, on the November agenda for the town council, correct?
Yeah.
So is that the first step in the process, and then planning zoning?
I already went to 2 town council meetings. One was to present the project this is going on town property, it's going to become a town building. We want their authorization to go ahead and proceed. The town council guided us to go through permanent project building, and every step we go through, we'll report the permanent project, just like all the other projects are going, and then create the budget, which we had an established estimated budget we were going to work within, but now that we have all these people wanting to donate things and all that kind of stuff, our budget numbers are kind of getting a little different, but we will report everything. We have a form that we have whoever wants to donate goods or labor, fill out the form, give us the estimated amount, what they think, so we can show the town council.
So John will report with a budget, whoever is donating, the value of the donation, and any cash donations.
Do we have to approve those donations as a board, correct?
Yeah.
If they're
Yes.
over
The one I'm
Yes.
bringing, I'll bring probably in December after. It won't come until then.
Right.
Anything that's monetary will come to us.
Yes.
Yeah. All of it will come.
And where will that money go? Will there be a separate, like, account, like a?
We already have established there's some
We have 4 open purchase orders.
open purchase orders right now.
Right.
So once the project gets going, I mean, if anybody's going to donate monetarily, that will come here, of course. If it's a donation where they're like, listen, we're donating our labor and our material, and it's here, it's not a dollar exchange, then that's just would come part of the job. It will be presented to you, you will approve it, it'll be presented to the town, saying, this is, how we got this particular items or labor or.
Every donation, every monetary.
But does the board have to create a line item in the
Well, that's
budget?
Martha takes care of all of that.
I will certainly do that so that it is separate.
Like your 25 account.
Okay.
anything that
So
comes-
will it all come from donated money or?
No, we already have the money.
So that money, so where's that money now? The money that we have?
It's sitting.
It's in the
It's in
budget.
4 open purchase orders right now in fiscal year 23-24.
Okay.
Because we had placed orders for the lumber and the other materials that John already knew that we were going to need.
And what we do is we went ahead, okay, because the lumber yards, I follow recommendation from 2 members on the building committee who said, contact these 6 lumber yards, play one against the other, and get the best price. So that's what we did, and we found the one lumber yard that said that even if it's a year from now, he'll lock into the price that we talked to him about. Yeah, that was on the guidance of the people on the building committee. They deal with these people all the time, so they were willing to help out the town. So in order to do that, Martha created a PO. We didn't purchase anything, but we put the money there that they said that that's what that is going to cost.
So when and this might be a stupid question, so I apologize ahead of time. So that money, where it's sitting now, how do we get it over to, like, so wherever it is now, do we transfer it over?
The funds are set aside, so that's where they will stay in the 23-24 budget. And then if we have to make an adjustment as far, the purchase order or the material that we set aside, the materials that lumber, that we set aside, if it comes in less than what we needed, then that will certainly be adjusted,
So we haven't closed out the 23-24 budget then? In other words, if you have open invoices still sitting there, that hasn't been...
Open purchase orders.
Open purchase orders, so...
Purchase orders. Yeah.
So it hasn't been closed, so that money is there, but it's...
Any money that is encumbered at the end of the fiscal year is considered spent, but in the process of closing out those POs, if there was any money left, then that money would revert back to the town now that the fiscal year is over. If it was during the fiscal year, then the money would revert back onto the line, and we would be able to use it for something else.
So to simplify, like if the concrete is actually donated, and I know I'm gonna have to do the forms and I'm gonna have to pay for the labor, but if there's money left in that concrete, it goes back to the town.
Yeah, we made the POs based on the estimates that we were figuring. And like Superintendent said, if we have this particular contractor, if he donates the concrete like he's saying he will, the money we put aside for the concrete, if we get it free, goes, that PO closes out and reverts back to the town.
So we still have to pay labor for the forms, right? That's all.
Yeah, if he's willing to donate the concrete but not his labor, we just pay his labor.
And Martha's going to report on your monthly finance reports, this as well. This will be included, this project will be included in your monthly finance reports, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And it won't be until the spring,
right?
We're doing
It's getting cold
now.
quick.
Yeah, so it's gonna be.
And then the other thing is you had, in last month's finance report, you had estimated somewhere about from 61,000 to 600,000 would be after the audit, that would be eligible to be placed in the Fund 25, correct? Is that number is still?
The town is still working on closing out their books for 23-24, so the audit has not yet been finalized. And once that number is verified by the auditors, then I will know for certain.
Okay, so my concern with that was just to have a contingency, just money in case somebody who was going to donate, turns out they can't, or someone got sick, or things didn't work out. Contingency funds, that will we have enough in our Fund 25 by the springtime when everything's closed out to cover any contingency?
Well,
I know there's some
need to know how much from John, what a good estimate would be to set aside for a contingency amount.
Okay.
We're hoping to fall into our estimated amount of the amount of money that we had put into those 4 POs.
Okay, because I know we have some fixed costs that are coming out of 125, electricity and
No, those
transportation.
are all within the general fund.
Okay.
Fiscal year 23-24, that's
Okay.
where those 4 purchase orders are encumbered in.
But I mean, there's nothing encumbered for the Fund 25 for that amount.
As of right now, I don't have any money in
Okay,
Fund 25.
I know, but when you do get money in that account, when that account gets that money set aside that you think is coming after the audit, is it earmarked for any other large expenses?
That would be up to the board and the
Up to the board,
superintendent to
Okay,
decide that.
all right. Yes.
So since we're going to be asked to approve the building plans and the budget, can I have a number, please, for the budget that we'd be asked to approve tonight?
We were looking, when we did our initial estimates, we were looking at 80,000, it was 80,
It was 83.
83, something, 82 or $83,000.
Okay, so the amount we're agreeing to or approving is $83,000.
Yep.
And we anticipate that that will be less with the donations that.
We hope so,
Okay.
yeah, sure, we hope so.
Okay, last I heard, we had 73.5, that was realized savings. So is there another funding source to get us to the 83?
So there, 73.5 was the amount of money that the cafeteria contributed to our health insurance.
Correct.
Which contributed to the amount of money that we had left over towards the end of June. But that wasn't, so the 4 purchase orders that are open in the system total $82,533.
Okay.
So that is what is set aside currently.
Those are the garage
That's
doors, the
close.
lumber, the
That's close.
concrete, and
Yep.
Then I would like to make a motion to approve the building plans and budget as submitted for the North Branford High School Athletic Storage Building and to also appoint John Florio as the general contractor for this project.
Second.
Discussion.
So I'm still confused about the budget. I can definitely approve John Florio. I'm good with. I'm still a little confused on the budget and money and where it's coming from. And
there's $82,000 sitting right now in encumbered funds in purchase orders. We don't think we're going to need all of that because of this influx of people that are donating to do it. So if nobody gave anything, we still could do the project. We have the funds to do it. Anything that we don't use up to that $82,000 is going back to the town. So it's not a money issue. We've got the funds to do it.
I
We'd be able to-
believe that, but it just doesn't.
So everything is in place.
I think the word budget is what's throwing you off. It's really anticipated cost for the building, because the funds are already set aside. So
From last year.
it's not.
It's not this current year's budget.
Yeah,
It's last year's budget.
We had money left over last year.
So we
They
pre-purchased
purchased the lumber, the garage doors for this, and that's what's sitting in the open purchase orders right now until we actually get it. So this money is already accounted for,
Right.
but we're hoping that with donations from contractors, that will knock down
It'll come
and
into
we'll pay
less.
less than the 80.
And then if it's less than that, the money goes back to the
We don't
town.
know what.
You go on hold?
Well, we already have the purchase order.
This is, everything's done, the labor, electrical, everything is good, there's no hole. If anything, we have too much money, it's gonna go back. That we don't spend, if I get 50,000 for concrete and I spend 20, 30,000 go back to the town. So it's not a matter of, we have too much.
You're approving anticipated costs, you're not approving a budget.
Well, it says budget in our motion, so.
I think that's what's.
It's not to exceed the budgeted number of 83,000.
Right.
Well, I don't know, I can't tie anybody either
Well, let
because.
me get back again. We appropriate more money towards it, so it doesn't sound like we're gonna hit that number anyway. I'm just talking about for your kind of interesting point. Because
The budget is the total amount, 83,000 at 200,000. That's what's been the 83K, set aside.
if you add that in, you're stating that it's not to exceed.
It makes sense, yeah, I'm just,
Okay. I was gonna make a motion to split this motion up. And
We already have a motion on the floor.
I know there's a motion on the floor. I was going to ask to divide the motion and take each one as a separate, but I guess can I not do that? Because there's a motion currently on the floor. It's been seconded.
I can withdraw my motion.
And I'll withdraw my second.
Thank you. Okay, so I can't make this motion then.
I don't know what you want to do though.
I would just like to take them each one at a time. I don't want to approve the building plans until it was signed off on by the town council, which it hasn't yet been done, and then planning and zoning.
But we approve them and then they go to them. They can reject them or they can accept them. But we need to approve them to send them to them.
So that's the order, that is the order of operations.
Yes. We submit the plans to them. They can accept them or they can reject them.
And if they reject them,
Then he comes back to us and we go back to the drawing board.
Right.
Right now, we're just approving to John, saying, please bring this to
the
town council.
concept of students doing it in monies that have been set aside because we didn't get it in the ARPA funds and we didn't get it in the capital. So that this was a project we wanted to do. It was a high priority. We were fortunate at the end of the year last year to accrue the monies to be able to do it. So now what it's become is now it's been kicked back to permanent project. It's passed muster with the people who are in charge of building and things in the town. So we're cleared there. We've gone to the council. The council has said, bring us your budget and bring us who's going to give you what. That's really the last part of it
I mean,
to go
permanent
through.
project.
So we've cleared all the hurdles.
Town
So
council said go through permanent project. Permanent project.
The project approved it.
They approved the plans.
They said go forward and bring it to inland wetlands and zoning.
Council.
With all the permanent projects in approved budget.
No, we do
That's
that.
us.
They approved the budget.
But she's talking
As
about
the
the
Board of
plans.
Education, you're charged with a bunch of these. We have
Her project approved the plans.
any more money. So it's really, there's no hurdle to overcome right now.
Right.
okay. I didn't want to put the cart before the
I
horse.
don't think
No.
anybody on that council knows more than the permanent project about the plans.
We've had numerous conversations about this project. I've built almost a $200,000 FRC building that had to clear no hurdles with a different council. So this is minor, and this is almost going to cost the town zero for a student-based experience that's going to be great for the town, with a lot of town people that want to be a part of it. It's a win-win.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, and the money's there, where we are. It's already been cleared.
I'd like to consider that in the motion, when we make it again, that we include a budget of $83,000 instead of just a budget. So I think that would make it clear that it's our intent that we would not go over that 80, or the anticipated cost, however, whatever the wording would be that you'd like, but just so that we make it clear in the motion as opposed to just a discussion.
Absolutely.
So we have our plans that have been done by someone in our town. If you could show me them, if they're going to mean nothing to me, John, I'm sorry.
plans
I'm
would-
gonna have to, I'm going on faith that they're good.
Plans have been
So
done, stamped, and certified by an
I'm okay
architect.
with the plans, I'm okay with the budget, and I'm certainly pleased to have you act as our general contractor. So as long as we are in a good spot.
Okay, I'm ready to remake the motion.
But are you comfortable with your concerns?
Yes. So I'm going to remake a motion to approve the building plans and budget of $83,000 as submitted for the North Branford High School Athletic Storage Building, and to also appoint John Florio as the general contractor for this project.
Second.
Roll call?
We just have to, we're only change was to add the 83,000.
Correct.
Do we leave as submitted? Because is there something that's submitted?
What was submitted, I guess?
Right.
That's the question.
Right.
But we have the plans.
We have the plans, right?
You have the 83,200.
Right, we have
You
the,
have the blessing of the permanent project.
I guess the purchase
You have
orders on those
we have the
items,
purchase orders and
You have
whatnot.
everything.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So we have to do this so we go to the council for next month.
I'm sorry,
It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty, this is pretty straightforward.
Well, it's the first time, someone's built a building.
Yes,
So,
certainly.
interesting.
Okay, are we okay? We're ready for roll call? Yes.
Second, somebody seconded.
Judy?
I did.
Got it.
Then that should be set. Chairman Bonaduce,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nafrio.
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Judy Bannon,
Yes.
Zachary Canada,
Yes.
Kim Dawson,
Yes.
Victoria Alonso.
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along, the budget calendar. That's what's going to take time.
So in your packet, I believe there was one in your board packet and one in your finance packet as well. Just wanted to highlight a few things for you. We have, I'm not sure if you approved the change to the Board of Ed meeting to January 23rd yet?
I did.
Okay. So that, the first meeting that we will present the superintendent's proposed budget for 25-26 is listed as Thursday, January 23rd. We have a Board of Ed budget workshop meeting scheduled for Monday, February 3rd, and another workshop scheduled for Monday, February 10th. And then adoption of the Board of Ed budget request on Thursday, February 20th. So that is the proposed budget calendar as it stands right now.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 budget process calendar as submitted, to include moving the January board meeting from January 16th to January 23rd, 2025, and scheduling the budget workshops on February 3rd and 10th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion, I would actually like to ask, what are the admin council meetings?
Those are the meetings that the administrators have during the
We
day
build the
to
budget.
make changes.
Okay, so no, if you're on the budget subcommittee, you're not included in those?
No.
Okay,
You do not come to the
okay.
building meetings.
What time for the budget workshops? Do we have that as a?
6.
6 o'clock.
Do they have to be on Mondays?
Oh, that's
Two
a
of us have Monday
project.
meetings.
That's a permanent project.
Are they going to continue their, until closeout?
We got other stuff going on.
Up to the roof of MDIS?
And yes, the side.
We understand what's going on.
So,
I mean, it may not be, we may be able to flip.
So is
To
it,
communicate that back to, because sometimes it can be heavy. I mean, sometimes they don't have an agenda. No, it's rare.
Well, sometimes we meet at 7 and not
Oh, that's
6,
right.
but
so it's a Tuesday night?
Or cancel
I mean, we have to put it out to everybody, look at your calendars.
Do we want to make it a little earlier, and then you guys could make your meeting?
but how long do we, but
budget
How much
workshop.
are we talking about? We're going to need more than an hour to look over the budget.
Do you think?
Because if we meet at 6, so we'll just change
There
the
are three budget workshops.
So you want to add a fourth, and then we can kick the Zach, you get here earlier,
I mean, present.
if you're in the country.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in the country, if you're not making it at 6 o'clock either.
I mean,
I
it's
don't
the
know.
availability of everyone else if we.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Earlier, and then add one meeting in the evening.
Or if Tuesday's better,
You want Tuesday? Tuesday works.
Tuesdays aren't great for me.
No.
I can make it work, but if everyone was on a Tuesday,
Does the time?
no. But I can make it work if that's best for everybody.
Are you sure? It's your decision, board.
Well, there's
I'm
only, I'll do
flexible.
whatever's,
Three
I'll do whatever's
episodes
easier. I'm flexible, I'll do whatever's easier for everybody else.
Same.
What about Wednesday? Judy?
Wednesdays are better for me.
So can we move into Wednesday?
But not everything.
Wednesday's good TV night though, so we gotta.
She did it early, she did it
This is my one night I watch TV.
You can tape it.
How long are the budget meetings?
Generally, overnight.
It doesn't have any questions everybody has, seriously.
I know, I'm gonna have a lot.
I
It's my
always
first
have a
one.
lot, so we'll just say that right out.
Yeah, I will too. This is my first budget, so.
So, you tell us tonight.
The problem is, the last one, the 20th,
Can we just table?
is gonna be really hard because, to move that one, because the budget is due the 24th.
Yeah.
So I think we need to stick with that one as a Monday night.
No, it's
Um,
Thursday.
The 20th is?
2:20 is the,
Oh, that's our board meeting.
That's our board meeting.
You're right, okay, so that one's okay.
it's just the 3rd and the
The
10th.
3rd and the 10th, so what do we want to do, Tuesdays or Wednesdays?
It doesn't matter to me, just not Monday.
And Wednesday's better for you?
Yes.
Does anybody else have problems with Wednesdays?
Don't be flexible.
So then we're going to the 25th?
The 5th and the 12th?
No. 25th for what?
5th and the 12th? No. But the admin's meeting on Wednesday, but they're doing it during the morning.
Yeah, the 5th and the 12th. Only problem is the 12th is that. Wednesday, okay, good. Do you want to make it earlier than 6th?
So we're moving February 3rd to the 6th? Not my, or,
Fifth.
sorry, that's my
Monday,
5th.
Wednesday. Add 2 days in your day.
And then, do you want to keep it at 6 or do you want to go earlier?
It doesn't matter to me. But people who work may want it. It's up to you guys.
Let's just go over the dates. So it'll be the 12th, the 5th, the 12th.
The 5th and the 12th of February, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's a board meeting anyways. Okay, so we're keeping it on the 20th. It's a Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
But the 2 workshops, are we keeping it at 6 or are we going earlier?
Let's just stick with 6.
All right, so let me redo the motion. Okay. Put a motion to approve the 2025-2026 budget process calendar as submitted to include moving the January board meeting from January 16th to January 23rd, 2025, and scheduling budget workshops on February 5th and 12th, 2025.
Take the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? We are unanimous. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the financial report. I did hand out financial reports for you all. You'll notice that underneath the date, I do indicate that it was revised today. There's a paragraph I added at the end of the report that I'll discuss in detail, but just wanted to let you know that this one is slightly different than what you received in your email. On January 1st, the Connecticut minimum wage will increase from $15.69 to $16.35 per hour. That is a 66-cent increase. When we add our employer Medicare and Social Security taxes on it, it comes to roughly $1 an hour increase for those people who are earning minimum wage. We have 40 employees on our payroll books currently, 5 of which are paid from the general fund that are earning minimum wage. So the net cost to us from January to the end of school in June is approximately, if we were to assume that each of those hourly people were to work 7 hours a day and 104 school days from January to June, the cost is about $518 per employee. So it's not huge, but I just wanted to let you know that that change is coming. In regard to the financial report for 23-24, as we said earlier, once the audit is complete on the town side, the remaining balance in our general fund from 23-24 will move over to our non-lapsing account, which we call Fund 25. For the current general fund, now that we're well into the fiscal year, we have the majority of our known expenditures, such as transportation, utilities, workers' comp. Those things are now encumbered, so you should start to see more accurate balances on your financial report. Things that I want to point out to you, under Object 510, Transportation, you'll see there is a negative there currently. I reached out to DATCO. I noticed on our annual bill that we're being charged for 3 special ed buses. I only budgeted for 2, so I don't know if in fact we increased the number of buses or that was a clerical error on their side. So I did reach out to them. I'm waiting to hear back. For electricity, Object 622, we are working with our representative from UI to reallocate the current credit balances that we have on the smaller accounts to the larger accounts. And then we're also working with them to hopefully redistribute those credits in the future so that our smaller accounts, such as Jerome Elementary, will not have a huge credit balance, so we can reapportion that to the accounts that have larger balances, such as the high school. I also became aware that the town is pursuing the option of a reverse auction for electricity, so we did supply our UI bills to a company called Titan US. So we'll see if that is anything that may be of benefit to us and as far as a lower rate, possibly. So we talked about Fund 25, Family Resource Center. So you do have a accounting for September in front of you. We collected revenue of almost $67,000 and had expenditures of $47,004. The net income for the month showing on there is $15,000, but I do want to caution you that the monthly totals are skewed because of the timing factor of when we get revenue. Our families pay for those services in advance, and of course our expenditures are mostly salary related, and those hourly employees are paid 2 weeks in arrears, so the numbers are skewed. Moving on to the food service.
Can I had asked for a bank balance on this?
So currently in the checking account for Family Resource Center as of September 30th, there was $212,503 in the Family Resource Center account. Food service is off to a good start. We actually implemented a new breakfast program at all of our our schools. And for the month of September, we sold 450 breakfasts.
Oh, wow.
That was,
I haven't heard about this in either of my kids' schools.
Correct, I haven't either. I only heard about it at the high school.
I haven't heard anybody talk about this.
okay.
So is it at Jerome in the middle school?
It is, it's at all of our schools.
How do we know it's?
Should we maybe have Christina come to the next meeting and talk about it?
I can certainly ask her to put something out to parents.
Yeah, because I don't know anybody who's sure about this.
Correct, yeah, and I'd like to know how it works. So if we could have a little information on it, that'd be great. Thank you.
Time-wise? Yeah. Like, what's the menu for it? What's the price?
Time, like, do they have to get to school early?
Well, that's what, I know that FRC always used to be able to get breakfast, like the kids that went early, but I don't know about other kids that could
Right,
possibly
maybe it's
get
just
it.
an FRC thing.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
so, yeah, we'd like to know a little more about that.
Sure. As far as lunches, we also started strong. We prepared 16,778 lunches for the month of September. That is an increase of 1,408 lunches served over September 2023. If you'll notice in your report, I did create a new monthly spreadsheet that you'll see the number of lunches that were prepared, and then I'll keep updating that as the year goes on so that you can see a running total as we go. Again, just want to point out that the monthly trial balance you see in front of you shows a loss of $1,762. Again, those numbers are skewed because it doesn't include money that's owed the cafeteria from our National School Lunch Program, and it also includes expenditures for things that we haven't used yet. So in other words, we may have bought canned goods that are still sitting on the shelves, but have not been used yet.
Right.
So again, there's that skewing. The next part of the report is the part that's added. So you didn't see this when I submitted it to you a few days ago electronically. So every year, because we receive funds from the federal government, we have to report to the state a financial report for the fiscal year. So we just submitted the financial report for the cafeteria for 23-24. And it shows a computed operating balance of $346,000 for June 30th. Now, the state will allow you to keep 3 months of your average operating costs in your bank account. Anything over that is considered excessive funds. So when you do the math on ours, we came out to have an excessive balance according to their parameters of $41,624. So we have to report to the state on how we're going to use that. So currently we are in the process of buying a new serving line for Tucket in the cafeteria. And we also need to replace the combination gas oven at Jerome. So those are the two things that we are looking to purchase. The gas oven at Jerome is approximately $23,500. And we put in a grant request to the state because they're also doing a equipment grant proposal. So if we are lucky enough to receive some funding for that, it will reduce the cost of that oven. So that was just submitted late last week, and I'm not sure, maybe another month or so before we hear on whether or not that request has been approved.
Nice. Okay, great. Is there not something, if we do get grant money, that we still have money that we have to spend?
No, because the two things that we're looking to buy total roughly $60,000, and our excess is 41.
Okay.
So if we were to get some money from the state, we would reduce that, but we probably would still spend what we needed to spend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One quick question.
Yes, please.
Just quickly, with the receipt of the retirement resignation,
Yes.
I think I know that depending on when you notify is when
Yes.
you get your severance. So are we paying that severance out of this budget, or will
No.
it come? Okay,
It will, that person who submitted their retirement, I will use in my budget proposal for next year.
Next year. Okay,
Because
thank
the
you.
teacher's contract says you have to notify prior to the end of the year in order for me to budget for it, and because that wasn't done.
I was just looking at the number and thinking already, yes, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
For the oven, where do you purchase, or where's the idea for those going to be purchased from? Do you have like a good follow, like a state
Yes, so
contract list?
our food service director works with state-approved vendors. And they need all the specifications and everything.
You already said that, that was
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Anything else on budget? Anybody else? Do you have the student enrollment
Yes.
in front of you? I want to recognize Mr. Lonsdale for changing the format and how it was reported. You can see over 3 years.
Yes,
on your
very nice.
right color side. So you can see that our enrollment is up about 14 students over the last 3 years, from 1529 to 1535 to 1543. So we're on an upward trajectory in the town, which is a good sign.
Building all those big homes.
Before, with the number of 3,000 square foot homes being built, the lack of inventory in this town, how quickly homes are being sold overvalued, that's a really good sign. So the new high school, that campus with your new roof going on there, and other ideas that are floating out there that people see, I think it's becoming a really attractive place for families to move there to. So it's a good thing.
It's a great thing.
And the backside is obviously the current. Okay. Student performance, you good with that? Any questions on all of it? Just straightforward. Okay. Dr. Welch, Mr. Lonsdale, please come forward. So there's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to talk about the student data from last year and some of the areas of focus that we'll have and strategies for each building moving forward, and some of the target areas that we really need to focus on based on state and national trends. Sit back, relax, get a bowl of popcorn, and I'll look at that. One more time. Here we go.
All right, so just to frame this, typically at our October meeting, we present to you kind of a snapshot or update on student performance results in the district. So this is the performance how our students did in the spring of last year. So we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit. We're looking, I framed this with kind of what to expect in the coming slides. So we're experiencing similar trends as many of our colleagues in other districts, in our region, state, and the nation. And really that's, concerning performance overall and how many kids are reaching proficiency in the secondary level in math and LA on our standardized tests, especially when you compare that to what our student grades and GPAs look like. And that's something that colleges are also looking at and struggling with. So that's a problem we're facing and looking at, and something that many others are as well. We continue to see a really positive trend of consistent growth and success at TVS across the content areas on standardized tests. So that high mark is continuing to be met each year. Looking at some trends at the secondary level, we know there's a state and national trend kind of as kids move into the middle school level, so from 5th to 6th grade, we see that, but we're looking at it deeply, what that means and why that's occurring and what we can do about it. And then we've seen a recent trend, as many others have, on our SAT, which I again mentioned in that first bullet, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. As I always say when we talk about student performance, these tests are one measure, standardized testing. We certainly look to improve those. That's a big part of what we do. The data and how to do better is something we have lots of conversations about, but we do that in a balanced and measured way. We don't completely devote all our time and energy to test prep and making sure that this is the thing that we chase. We look at other measures of student outcomes and successes as well. So I like to highlight that in the beginning as we go to look at some of the results. So we're going to start kind of looking at this at the elementary level. Smarter Balance is the test that we're looking at. Your first side looks at math achievement of our third graders, so the percentage of students reaching proficiency. As you'll see on these slides, what we've done, and the board has historically asked us to kind of look at our neighboring towns, who most people are familiar with. Although those towns don't match us in terms of resources, funding, and other metrics, they are what is most familiar to our community. So those are the ones that we typically look at. As we move on to fourth grade in math achievement, you'll see that success that I highlighted earlier, really noting the strong performance at TVS and how our students are doing. So outperforming, Guilford is kind of the one that we always chase and don't quite reach. It's nice to be able to say that they did outperform Guilford this year, so really nice success, and they should be congratulated for that. Again, fifth grade for math, really nice growth, really nice performance ahead of surrounding towns. As you look at sixth grade, you'll see, kind of a dip. That's what we talked about, that fifth to sixth grade. So although we're not at the top right now, I still want to kind of highlight for you, you were seeing scores in the 60s and the 70s there, you're now seeing scores more in the 50s and 40s across the board. So that's that performance dip we talk about, and why that's occurring and what we do about it. Seventh grade, again, these numbers, as you know, we talk a lot about getting to the 60% across all tested areas, so we're not where we want to be. But again, we're not far off if you look at this with where other towns are. So although it's not where we want to be, it's something that everybody's experiencing together. So we're trying to kind of pull resources and look at our neighboring towns and combine our efforts to improve scores. And again, you see those low numbers of students meeting proficiency across the board. So the town comparison separated by, 0.2%, 0.3%, kind of all not where we want them to be, but similar performance. Now, if we shift gears to language arts, so looking at ELA performance results, back to third grade. Just at that 60% mark, and then looking at fourth grade at 65, and fifth grade, a little bit higher up, but not quite up to where we want to be and where we are in math. So we're going to continue to do that work. We do look at other towns if they're experiencing a period of success, or we're seeing a jump up in some of your communities. We do collaborate and consult to try and share resources and ideas about how we're doing. So North Haven is one that we're looking at. They've seen a recent uptick in performance in language arts particularly, and we want to investigate that. So again, that trend at the middle school, looking at that dip down in performance from 5th to 6th grade. Again, it's not as measured as we see in the math scores, so that underperformance in math across the board, across the state, across the nation, that's a trend we know. You are 7th, you are 8th grade. So moving on from Smarter Balance, looking at our SAT performance, again, that first slide I talked about, we've seen nationally a dip in SAT performance. There are lots of factors. We know that the test optional movement for college applications has hurt overall performance on SATs. So whether effort, participation is a factor in that, we certainly know it is. How much of a factor? I don't think that's been studied, or we know that. So the percent at proficiency is not where we want it to be. I think most districts would agree. Even though you see Guilford really outpacing us, they're at 55% proficiency, so that's, it's certainly not a high number, even though it's much better than, that group of us that's lower out. So we know we have work to do there in trying to improve the SAT. Our last slides in this presentation are just about that, the work. What are we trying to do? What are our action steps to create improvements? English language arts, you see higher numbers across the board, closer to 60%. Our trend is just under that, and historically we're right around that 60 to 64%. So we're looking at those numbers as well, and trying to do what we can to improve that, which we'll talk about. And lastly, looking at our science scores, so the NGSS test is the national test that we use in 5th, 8th, and 11th grade. So our 5th graders performed strongly, hitting the 70% mark. And then we see a dip down in 8th grade. This is a lower number than we typically achieve. So that's one that we're hoping is an anomaly by that grade and not necessarily representative of something, content or programming based. But we're continuing to look at that and exploring, kind of our approach to science in the middle school as well. And then looking at 11th grade, at just about 50%, and they're trending up gradually, very slowly, minorly there, and we're hoping that's a movement that continues over time. Although, all the slides that you show are just looking kind of at a snapshot of where kids are, we look at the data across years, across cohorts. We look at our trend comparison to other districts. So we have many more slides that our district team analyzes and the school teams analyze, including, strand by strand in the content areas where kids are really close to achieving proficiency, and school-based teams attack that. And, for our purposes, we try to keep it really focused. We try to give you the straight story where we're strong and where we need to grow and what we're going to do about it, but not giving you that level of depth. But I am letting you know that those conversations and that type of analysis happens at our district and school levels with teams. So more importantly, what are we doing about it? The next slides look at kind of our district overview. And you're going to see things that I know we've talked to the board about and our subcommittee has talked about. We really spend a lot of time trying to align our efforts and make sure they're really understood around that district instructional vision. That's that work around making things visible and building thinking cultures, collaborative learning, having students be reflective about what are they doing, their metacognitive strategies. So that's a big part of our district-wide effort to improve scores. We're really looking deeply into our MTSS system, so that's multi-tiered systems of support within the school and the district level. So what do we do, and what do we provide, and how do we provide that when kids are below expectation, grade level, or proficiency? And how do we strengthen Tier 1 instruction, which is that kind of core instruction that all students receive? How do we make sure we're doing really well with that? As always, from our office and curriculum, we look at the programs that we're using, the instructional models, curriculum. We're constantly looking at research, sharing practices with other districts, and making sure that whatever program resources we're using, they're the best for kids and they align to our vision. Early in the year, we were fortunate to implement a math SRBI position. It's really focused on improving math across the district. There may be some movement within that model with the recent retirement. So we'll talk more about that as those plans come to fruition. But staffing and support for math intervention is really a big part of all school-wide and district efforts to try and use our resources carefully. And then the last two are things that we're really trying to think differently about and trying to really raise awareness, both with our students and our families, around the importance of testing and really having pride in testing, so that our kids, when they test, although it's not a fun process, nobody enjoys it, no one's excited about it, it's long, you have to persevere. We really want kids to develop a sense of pride that showing their best on these tests and really putting forth their effort is in the best interest of our district. It appeals to their competitive nature. One of the things that TBS did is they really had a campaign around beating Guilford, and that was motivational there. So we want to try to do things like that across the district. We know that age appropriately that looks very different than appealing to a middle school child in 7th and 8th grade in the same way that we do with a 4th and 5th grade. It looks differently, but we think there's a lot of value in appealing to that. And we know when we look at a school-based level in district, that the results that we see on some of these tests and in those graphs that I showed you are not representative necessarily of what we know and see from students. So we know there's stability to that. They're not giving us our best on some of those tests, so we want to try to maximize that potential. And we think partnering with parents around that is really important.
Some kids just are not good testing.
Which is also true, and we know that. Yep.
Do you know approximately how many students go for district tests?
They have a lot more than us, I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're comparing, I mean, I know we like to see the comparison of surrounding towns, but
yeah, it's very different. It's not apples to apples.
Right.
And with us, we know too, and you talk to an administrator here, and you talk about, moving 7 kids from, just below proficiency to proficiency has a dramatic effect in our small district on the total number. So that's not an effort that's lost on any of us either.
Carter, do you know what Guilford spends per pupil?
More than us, but I don't know that off the top of my head. So moving into kind of school-by-school action plans, what I really appreciate about these, and every year we kind of share them with you so that you know that we have focus on improving outcomes for kids. There's a lot of consistency and alignment from building to building around some common strategies. So I think instead of us working on, across the district, 30 different strategies that are very age different and school different, I think you're going to see some really common strategies. So we're aligned, they're really well understood in the district, and we're kind of working on the same things like that district vision, the MTSS process, that kind of intervention support both in our core instruction and in our intervention blocks of time with kids to how do we improve and give kids practice for improving those scores. And you'll see other things that are building based on that. I can read all of these to you. But each principal with their school team and with our admin council district team talks about these and continue to talk about them throughout the year and how we're doing. And they're tied to goals that the teachers are working on and the administrators are working on. I think, just the thing to highlight, TVS looks a little bit differently, and their performance results suggest, they're able to do things a little bit differently. They're hitting that 70% mark now pretty consistently. So they're looking at what are they doing within their personalized learning time in their block, where kids some are receiving intervention, but they're leaning into what do they do for those really high achievers, and how are they moving them forward. We're doing that across the district, but I think that's a strategy they're leaning into, just suggesting that they're not resting on their success, that they're constantly pushing forward and trying to do better as well. But you'll see their alignment to MTSS systems, to the district instructional vision, to making thinking visible, that type of work, and that partnership with families around how do we keep improving outcomes and systems within the school for kids. In the IS, you'll see similarity again between that MTSS process, really laser focus on grade level meetings, work with teacher teams on behavior and academics. But then what you also see, kind of a reshift a little bit on some more test prep type work in that school. And I think, given where they are and what they want to do, that's an important strategy and something to look at that hasn't been done there a lot in the past. So giving kids a lot of practice, giving teachers a lot of snapshot results on smarter balance like test items so that they can match the instruction to what they're seeing with kids. So you've heard from me before that we don't do a lot of test prep as sort of a philosophical approach, because we're chasing kind of what we know is good instruction and good thinking. But at times we know when we really need to shift and do things differently and try to maximize the potential, we will do some of that. So that's part of their plan along with that same alignment. They've got some focus with their parent community and their PTO as well. And they're doing a lot with ways to kind of connect the students to the school community and feel a part of it and feel joy, happiness, and engagement there, which is a big part of the middle school age and factors into how they do and how they're going to do with testing if they're more excited and happy to be there. The high school for you, just thinking about, you'll see commonality again in those same things. One of the things similar to what I shared about the middle school and their Smarter Balance test prep, they're really looking at embedding a lot more of PSAT and SAT prep activities into their courses and thinking about their SAT prep course that they offer to high school. It right now is more elective based and doesn't have as many kids as they would like, and typically it's filled with kids who are achieving pretty well and looking to boost that score to get into a better college. And so we're thinking more at that school how to capture that, how to draw more kids into it, maybe offer more sections, consider scheduling options and resources to build that in. We know from certain students that we talk to, focus groups there, that some that do even SAT prep courses and tutoring outside of school, that's led to positive results. So we're trying to balance what can we offer during our school day and programming that matches some of that. They're also trying to build that climate and culture of pride and preparedness with their students, connecting it to their vision to graduate, and kind of that positive culture and climate work that you heard from the students. And I've heard that across some of the committees I've been on with the students there. They're feeling really good and excited about the opportunities at the school. So I think they're trying to capture that momentum and to show that same pride and joy and excitement when it comes to the testing and showing your ability. So that's really in a kind of an overview what it looks like. I don't have any more slides for you, but if you do have questions for me on anything related to overview or anything building based, feel free.
I just want to spin off on a couple of things. Obviously,
I'm going to sit down now because I'm not there.
That's a help. In terms of obviously when you look at the overall scores and you see some of the state national trends in math in middle school and high school, we have to weigh out, and part of my conversations since the day was released about looking at things like, minutes in the classroom, how can we better use the time? Is there too much time? Is there not enough time? How do we accommodate with some of the things that we want to do? And then the motivational factor, having children myself, and then I can see over time, the SAT with being test optional, it's really changed a lot of times the motivation for students. They really don't have test option. I'm going to go to college. So we're looking at the culture in the buildings and how do we grow that culture to the importance of doing your best. Whatever your best is, your potential is. There's things that we've had in place with the coaching model, and we're evaluating at the lower levels where we do have the coaching model and we've been successful. How do we expand that to middle and high school to make sure that we're continuing so there's not the drop off from 5th grade to 6th grade? When you look at a 70th percentile, like you're 7 out of 10 of your students in 5th grade dropping to 40 to 50%, what's upside down here? What are we not doing, or what should we be doing? So a lot of the talk has been about our administrators having those conversations in transitional years and making sure that they know the needs when they get to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, when they get to high school as well, when they leave 8th grade. And we're not going to make excuses about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Those are the toughest years, and those changes going on. We know all of those things, but that's the same thing happening in Guilford as well. And if the scores weren't important, we wouldn't be saying we want to go after Guilford. Mm-hmm. We want 60%.
So they're not seeing a dip in that?
There's more consistency in Guilford over time than there is in North Branford. And we need to address, when you have 109, 111, 115 kids, every child is almost a percentile. So you're looking at 10 kids. If you can move 10 kids from the bottom up, you're going to hit your 60 percentile. So this is what they're doing. They're going through SRBI, they're identifying, they're doing tiered work, and they're pulling these students out and giving them that instruction that they need. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Carter was in a split role last year. I'll never use that as an excuse. But now he's back focused 100% on curriculum. And that's not an excuse, that's not a reason for. But his time is going to be better used right now doing the deep dig that he needs to do with department heads, with the administrators, with the curriculum coordinators. And everyone's dedicated. The teachers, this is our public report card.
Dedication.
Teachers want to succeed and they want their students to succeed. It's not a matter of effort. We're just going to refocus, redefine, and retool what we're doing. And we're having conversations with other districts. You mentioned North Haven, part that has had some success, and what needs to be done, if it's, the curriculum that they're using, we already see some crossover, we're already addressing some of the curriculum that we're using and wanting to change. So things are going in the right direction. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're invested in making sure that it does.
And are the SATs coming back or is it still optional?
Well, it's when you apply to college. They have to take it. And we offer, pre-SAT from freshman year all the way through, and then junior year, we give it on site on our campus. The only chance it's on a computer now, but it's on a computer everywhere. So we can't, we need to work on the motivational piece to make sure students are giving their best effort. And we've talked about bringing the SAT prep back in so kids don't have to pay $250 to take an SAT prep course or more. And then offer it as part of a class or elective, prior to your junior year, that you can really focus on the ELA and the math portion of it, and do test-like activities and have it embedded in the curriculum. So there's many, many conversations going on. This administrative team is very dedicated to it, and that involves obviously all of our special education students as well that participate. And our participation rate is outstanding. So, there are a lot of good things, but we're not satisfied. And it's one piece of the measurement. We look at the social emotional piece of how well our kids are doing, how many are going on to 2 and 4-year colleges, how many are going into, the profession that they choose or the military. There's great success. This is a piece of it that we want to challenge our students, our parents, our community to get to where we want to be. Questions? Thank you, Carter. Thank you, Tom, for the presentation. Thank you, administrators. Okay. No pending requests right now at the town level. The renovation project, I'm just going to go through some quick bullet points with you. The TCO, the temporary certificate of occupancy, obviously was issued on September 27th. We moved in on the 30th, and it was great progress to see everyone move into that second phase and get everything up and going. The landscaping work was completed on Friday, 10/4. 24 line striping of the student lot was completed earlier this past week. The design team has recently issued change documents modifying lawn areas behind our tech ed and culinary areas. They're going to do more stone work for less maintenance around shrubbery. We're doing all the punch lists right now. You'll see tape all over the building for things that need to be, touched up or removed, or anything that was to be corrected. We had a railing that we know we want to put in the downstairs lobby, that's going to happen. So that's in place right now. We're working on getting all our culinary and equipment in, getting everyone trained on it. The culinary room is just about finished. There's a couple more things to hook up, and there's been training going on with our teacher. The gym is on hold while the wood flooring acclimates and the moisture content of the wood falls within the specified range. However, installation is expected to resume this current week that we're in. Once the floor is complete, installed, finished, and line striped, the bleachers, wall pads, audiovisual equipment will be installed. The space will be final clean. Completion of the gym is targeted for 11/15. Okay, so it's coming, about a month. We're excited about that. So those are the overall updates for the project right now. It's spectacular. It's as exciting as phase 1. The kids are thrilled to be in the new space. So we look forward to showing it off to you as well. I did a tour, and I had 2 board members, Kim and Marjorie, go through. I'm up for putting it out to anytime you want to go through. You're free. Notify me in advance if you can the afternoon before, and I'll meet you at the school, and we'll do a walkthrough. Okay? I don't need a lot of notice. Just let me know it's good for you, and we'll accommodate. I know some of you work in the day. We can do it later in the afternoon if you'd like, and send the little kids home. But I think you'll be impressed.
You will. Go. It's awesome.
Okay. School security, we're going to do that in executive session. That's just an update from our conversation prior, and that's it for my report.
Okay, committee reports.
are we waiting for the new contract? Is there a change in type of?
No, it's just that we signed, waiting for signatures.
Got it.
So that's it. Once we get it all signed, we'll go for
Budget and operations, no meeting. Curriculum and instruction, report from the October subcommittee meeting.
Dr. Welch just shared with everyone exactly what we had gone over in the meeting.
Okay, pension, no meeting. Policy.
it. First reads.
Yes, we have the following first reads. P1030, which is a new policy, admission to public schools at or before age 5. There's a mandate now, they changed the date when kids can start. So that's the first read for that one. P1040, homeless children and youth. Again, statute update and kind of name change. It was called preschool accommodations, now we're calling it homeless children and youth. P3090, another new one for live animals in school, service and therapy animals. P3100, homeschooling. We did this last month, but this one has an addendum for re-entry into our regulations, so it's just an addition to what we did last week. And P33, again, enrollment in advanced courses, some minimal changes.
Thank you, Beth.
This is a very involved committee. It's an involved committee and it takes a lot of time. Thank you.
I don't know if I can answer any question. I'll go to the lawyer.
We have a lawyer.
I was going to ask, do you want us to submit questions via
Yes.
email like last time?
Absolutely.
I actually attended this meeting, and it's very, she runs through these policies very quickly, so.
You have to get it ahead of time and read.
Yeah.
Which I didn't do, I just popped into the
Yeah, so-
meeting on that day.
Send your questions, we'll forward them, we'll get them answered, we'll go back to it. That's why we.
I have some too.
This morning.
Maybe you could copy everybody on it just in case.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. ACES. This is a problem to cover this because it's in the middle of the day and it's like a 3-hour meeting. I am committed to going to the November meeting to check it out and so that we can get an update. So I will be going to the November meeting.
Thank you.
Building committee. Kind of
Can meet on Monday, but covered Scott Stevenson, pretty in-depth.
Yep. Thank you. Communication, no meeting. New business?
Why don't you do this?
Okay, these two we're going to exit. Okay, then we'll go back to the executive session. Okay, visitors and press, please. Hello, Rose. Mayor Angeloni.
So I have several things. So I'll first start off with, so I am working with Rita Nay on the food pantry. As you know, the food pantry will be moving into the old police station and they have started their renovations. So between that and the upcoming holidays of getting everything ready for the Thanksgiving and Christmas, they hope to be in their facility for December. So they're really busy between all that. They are very, very appreciative of what you are doing, the annual community food drive. And in addition to that, I have talked to Scott and he graciously said the schools would help out because they need specific items just for their Thanksgiving baskets. This year, they're really in a crunch and there is a kind of a food shortage from their suppliers that they get it to the Connecticut Food Share and stuff. So they will be doing this. So I will be contacting all of the administrators at the school to set something up I have a list of items that they specifically need that we're going to kind of divide up per school, take a collection, and then get that so that they have that in addition to the community food drive that they're doing on October 26th. So thank you very much for doing that and helping out the food pantry. They are very excited about their new facility, and they are going to plan like an open house once it's all ready, ribbon cutting to let the community show them. They're going to be the first food bank in the state that will actually have an educational room in there, so that when the kids come to visit, they'll actually have a room for them to sit and show them. So they're very progressive, and they really do a lot. So thank you to everyone who volunteers and helps out, and to the board for the food pantry. The second thing is, I noticed in your budget, your electricity account and the amount that you have in there. And Tuesday night at the council meeting, we got an update as far as what the solar credits were up through the end of the fiscal year, which was June. And so for the 4 buildings for the Board of Education that are in that program, there was a total of $367,000 in credits. So how is that representative in your budget? I mean, because I can't, it's not a line item obviously there. So where does that credit show, or where will it?
Our budget allocation for the electricity lines by the anticipated credits review of when we did the budget. So Chairman, when we met with the town council, I reduced the electricity lines by that credit. Was it 225,000 or something? It was around that figure.
We estimated 275 during the budget season. It was 325 up through March, and we just kind of did an estimate because we had no idea what it was going to be.
Whatever the number was is what I went back and reduced the electricity lines by.
Okay, that's fine. The third thing is I've been contacted by a number of residents in town inquiring about the bathrooms at the athletic center at the football field, as to why we don't have bathrooms. And I said we do have bathrooms, and if they had any questions to contact school administration. And they replied that they did, but they were told that they're closed because they don't work. So I guess my question to you is, what is the problem? Because I know they're hooked up to city sewer and city water, and I guess they've been closed for quite a while. So for most of you that were not on the board when this building went into effect, this was a project from the Rotary Club that went online in 2005. The Rotary Club did a lot of fundraising, and they raised approximately $114,000, and then they had in-kind services of approximately $200,000. So that building donation to the town was over $300,000. And I mean, I didn't know that they weren't open when my kids were in school and I was president of Booster Club. We ran the concession stand and those bathrooms were open all the time. I haven't been in the school for a number of years, so I didn't know that they were closed. A lot of people don't know that there's bathrooms there. So the question just becomes, what's the problem? Why aren't they open? And,
Could you redirect those questions to us so we don't have to do this here? It's kind of not the appropriate time to do it. We do have porta potties that have 2 single and a handicap on there, similar to the tennis courts. We had a lot of backflow problem with those bathrooms. Every time you would open them over the last 3 years, taking 2 years of COVID out, they would overflow and back up and it would run into the concession stand. It's going to be an expensive thing. It's something we probably put through in capital to you to correct them. But that's something you can send to us. If you get that call, direct us, because John Florio would gladly do that. And it would be greatly appreciated.
I direct them to school administration, so, but then when they come back and they say it, so I think this is the forum that everyone should know what
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know if the board could answer a question like that about bathrooms at a concession stand, but I think if you directed it to us, John Floyd would give you a very clear answer to it.
Look, if you can
And we
just
do
get back
have
to us.
facilities there. We do have.
Right, I know there's porta potties there, but they also complained about those also. So I'm just putting it out there so that everyone is aware of it and that the public is aware that there are bathrooms there and, that someone will look into what the issue is and hopefully we can get it fixed as to what the issue is. And the last thing is in regards to the athletic storage building. So I heard John say that he's, for planning and zoning and inland wetlands, but just so that you understand the process, those meetings cannot take place until the council approves the project, which is, it'll just stay on our agenda until we get all of the information, and then once that happens and we vote on it to finalize it, then it can move forward to the other planning and zoning and inland wetland, whatever organizations he has to get to once we have approval.
And Mike Downs did submit an email that went out to you that
Yep, I saw that.
we moved it to November. There are 3 things that John is charged with bringing. He's going to be on your agenda for November.
Yeah, it's just,
and then that should clear the 3 things. I shared that document with my chair and
she was on that email also, yes.
So that everyone's well aware of what needs to be done.
Right.
And that's why he was here tonight.
Right,
to do that. So we're really happy with the process, that it's moving forward, and John looks forward to coming and sharing it in November.
That's great. I'm looking forward to having the budget and the funding sources. And the reason that we needed that is because this project was not budgeted on either side, Board of Ed or the Town Council, so there was no money appropriated to the project. I applaud the superintendent and the board for thinking outside of the box and doing a combination of, private fundraising and funding sources to get the project done on there. And so that's the only reason that we're asking for it, and that is under the advice of the town attorney, is because it will be a town building, and we just have to make sure that there's enough money to complete the project, because if there's not, then who is responsible for finishing it? So that's the reason behind it.
We're very confident, Rose. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, the town received in excess of $4 million for ARPA. I did put in for that building.
At the end of our, we didn't have enough money.
There was plenty of monies left before that, and I think there's still 100,000 plus in the ARPA fund.
No, there's not. I can tell you that there's probably about $20,000 left in ARPA funds. So,
our capital as well, so I'm glad we will be able to be creative. It's something the town desperately needs. The high school does. You have a $74 million building going up, and we're looking at working that back area too, some things we'd like to do. Those trailers were a disgrace. They never should have been there for as long as they were, so we're happy we're going to be out of here, and we look forward to working with the town council in a great community event. It's exciting.
It is.
It's going to benefit more than anyone, and for years to come, and to look at that thing with great pride.
Yes,
so it's a great project. So
yes, Mike Downs did arrange and opened it up to town council members to take a tour of the high school, and he had arranged it, and we did take a tour at the end of September, and that building is absolutely beautiful and wonderful, and the town should be very proud of that facility. Walking through it, it is definitely a gemstone, and with the work for NBIS, that campus now looks very nice. So I think we should all be proud of the work and effort that went into that building.
And I will put that middle school, high school campus with the fields when we're done. We're not done yet, you know that. And then with other things we have in mind against anyone else in New England, and it's going to be spectacular. So the architect did a wonderful job working with the administrators in designing that space and creating for not only teachers, students, but community, so many opportunities for us to open up and do things with that culinary room, with that gymnasium, with our cafeteria, with the tech. There's so many things that we've been talking about that we can do to generate revenue for the community and get everyone involved. So we're thrilled about it.
Yes, so thank you.
So,
It's exciting. Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Good of the board?
I'm going to just quickly, I just want to thank the administrators for the many invitations that you send to us to come to your events. I personally will, try to get to them. I was able to get to Outdoor Classroom Day at Jerome Harrison, and
I wanted to go to that.
It's a wonderful day. Just everybody's outside motivated to learn, having fun, but still doing their curriculum. So I just wanted to thank you, and please keep those invitations coming, and definitely try to get to as many things as we can. Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say, Marjorie and I, just to elaborate on that at the tour, it was unbelievable. I mean, I can't say enough for the school. It was, so I saw it, how long ago was that, the last time we had walked through? But we didn't see that whole wing, it wasn't opened up yet, and it just is amazing. And anyone who's seen the video, it's just like, where is that? Like, yeah. It's a nerd.
Good selling point.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's very impressive.
That
It's
will bring
just
people to town.
unbelievable.
It
So,
will.
Thank you for showing us that.
Absolutely. And that invitation is for all the board whenever you're available. Tell me the day before, we'll make it happen.
Anybody else? Okay. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 21st, 2024.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to executive session as per section 1-225 of the Connecticut General Statutes, as permitted by section 1-206A and C of the Connecticut General Statutes, to discuss agenda items 7J security and 8A negotiations.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.